Hi guys, welcome! Yay, I'm so excited to have you here for my very first live event here in our brand new Facebook group. So for those of you just joining us, I'm Vanessa Levin and I help teachers just like you, teachers of preschool, pre-K, kindergarten, Head Start, in-home childcare, and more. I help teachers just like you teach better, save time, and live more. And when I'm not here live on Facebook, you can find me over on my blog, pre-kpages.com. So come on in and let us know in the comments below where you are watching from tonight. Where in the world are you watching from? And I will monitor the comments and make sure that I welcome you. And if you're a member of the teaching tribe, you can put hashtag TTT in the comments to let me know who is here. So I'm just going to keep talking and hope that some of you jump in. Hey, Catherine, wonderful. Catherine from Columbia, South Carolina is here. Fabulous. Thanks for letting me know. Hey, Kristen in North Carolina is here. Hi, Kristen. I hope you like the new format. We're going to let the others jump in and catch up. I want to tell you a little bit about our new group here. We're very excited to have you. Hi, Shannon. We're over here in the group for several reasons. The first one being we don't know what Facebook is going to be doing with the live videos. Once you reach more than 100 or so, we have had a few of our most recent Facebook Live videos over on the Facebook page disappear. So that leads us to believe that perhaps they're not going to be keeping them. We're not really sure. They don't really communicate very well about that. So that was our first concern, was to make sure that these videos can still be accessed by people afterwards. The group is free to join for anybody, so it shouldn't be a problem. But we do know that the videos in the groups are protected. So that's the first reason. The second reason is because I have some fun things in store for you this summer, and some of them involve interaction here in the group. So this summer, you're the first to really know this. You people out there in Facebook land, hi there. Lisa, Christy's here. Hey, Christy. All right, so this summer, we're going to have a challenge here in the group. It's our Summer Organization Challenge. And the challenge starts on June 12th and it goes through June 15th. And it's free for everybody to join. And there are a couple of steps that you need to take to become active in the challenge. So Tom will drop a link to the challenge page below. There's just 2 steps. The first step, excuse me, my allergies have been terrible. The first step is to join this group. You're already there. And the second step is to sign up for the challenge, and that will give you the daily emails between June 12th and June 15th. Do you have to be in town when the challenge happens? No, you can just leave those emails in your inbox until you get back. You can file them for later. It's up to you, but we will be doing Facebook Lives every day, and we'll be going live here in the group. So I thought that would be something fun to do this summer for everybody. Something that was of interest to all of the people out there, all of the teachers out there. So there's the link. Tom has dropped it for you in the comments below. He's commenting as me because for some reason he couldn't get into the group as himself. I don't know. So if it says Vanessa Levin is commenting as we're live, that's really him. Okay. Serena is here. Hi, Serena, Amy, Lisa, and Lori. Yes, I'm so excited that you're here. A lot of Teaching Tribe members. Yes, make sure that you let the other members know over in the community. So the Summer Organization Challenge is going to help you get started next year on the right foot, right? You're going to receive 5 days of organizational challenges designed specifically for teachers of preschool, pre-K, kindergarten, and Head Start. And these daily challenges will be delivered to you through an email beginning Monday, June 12th, and ending on, I think I misspoke, June 16th. So Monday through Friday that week. And you'll also get additional bonus printables that will help you accomplish those organizational challenges. We'll go live here every day, and I'll be in the group answering questions for the challenge. This is actually the first challenge we have planned for this summer. We have another one afterwards. So this is a way for us to recharge our batteries kind of by getting ready for the next school year so that we feel super organized and less stressed, right? Because I'm all about teaching better, saving time, and living more. All right, so you can go over there and you can put your name in there. The emails won't start coming until June 12th. Okay, so now we're going to start the QQ. QQ stands for quick question. And so here's how it works in our new Facebook group. So whenever you have a question, whenever a question pops into your head and you would like to ask it here in the group to be addressed during our live broadcast, you just go over to the group where you would usually post your message in the box, and you type the hashtag QQ, and then you type your question. And then what I can do is I can go to the search function in the group when I'm live, and I can search hashtag QQ and pull those questions up and go through them. So since this is our first time, many people didn't know that, so I'm just going to do it the old-fashioned way, I guess. I don't know what you call that, a different way. Okay, so, hey there, yes, Lori, this is me, I'm live. Hi, Lori. Okay, so here I am in the group. I hope that those of you that have been around for more than a few days, you might have noticed I changed the name of the group. The first name of the group was Preschool Teacher Q&A, which was really boring. So I thought of this name this morning and I changed it. So I hope you like it. Okay, so here are the questions. Now I have two screens open, and so you might see my head turning this way because I have the questions over on the screen. Okay. And I promised, I think it was Lisa, okay, that I was going to start with her question because I liked it. And this is a topic. Lisa's question is, what do you think of brag tags for preschoolers? Now, if you don't know what brag tags are, that's great. Close your ears, cover your eyes, because you don't need to know. They're nothing you should worry about. But for those of you who do know and you've been wondering, I'll just tell you flat out, because we're friends, right? I don't like them. I don't see how they are any different than stickers. And you know how I feel about those. So we have a great post over at Pre-K Pages on rewards in the classroom, and I think brag tags are just another reward. They're a lot of work for the teacher, and I'm all about teaching smarter, saving time, living more. So brag tags don't fit with my philosophy at all for reward systems, or yeah, for just the sheer volume of work that it creates for the teacher. There's going to be tiers over kids who don't get their right brag tags. I think that it was probably invented with the best of intentions in mind, but perhaps by you know, not according to developmentally appropriate philosophy. So it might work with older kids, I have no idea, but at the preschool, pre-K, kindergarten level, I just don't see any value in them at all. So I'm just excited that I have to answer that question, because I don't want to do a broadcast about it if nobody asks, but hey, if you ask, then I will answer. All right, so that was Lisa's question. Thank you so much, Lisa. And I like how you put QQ hashtag in your question. So good for you, Lisa. All right. The next question that was asked, ooh, this is a good one. Sandy asked, different ways to organize books and themes. I'm not sure if she means books, thematic books, or books in like theme boxes. So we have some posts for you, Sandy. I know you're surprised, right? You can see pictures of I'm not upstairs in my classroom tonight, so I can't just turn the camera on and show you, but you can go to Pre-K Pages, and there is a post there called Book Tub Labels. If you're a member of Teaching Tribe, you can go over and grab those labels right now. And if you're not, there's a link to them in the post, but they are editable labels that you can use to put on your baskets or boxes or whatever you put your books in, okay, for separating your books by theme. And then I also have over at Pre-K Pages the classroom library page that shows you how I organize the books for the kids. So I have two sets of books, one for me that I store in closed cabinets, and I have one set for the kids. And that's just a choice that I made for my own sanity's sake, because I didn't want to be worrying about my copy of Corduroy or Very Hungry Caterpillar getting destroyed. So I have two sets. But both of those posts should help you with organizing books. Hey, Jennifer's here. Stacy. Pam says she's frozen. Refresh your browser, Pam. Unfrozen, says Pam. Yay, I just solved a problem. All right. Um, so I hope that answers your question, Sandy. Now, if you're looking for help with theme tubs, like if you're storing your thematic items, if you want help with that, I think I have a post at Pre-K Pages that shows you how I store my thematic things. I think it's called the Summer Organizational Blues, and it shows you my different boxes. I have a file box. Okay, so I have a post over at Pre-K Pages. I think it's called Summer Organizational Blues, and it shows you my different file boxes and how I store them, and I just put a label on them. And I think over in the Teaching Tribe, if you remember over there, I put the thematic box labels in the tribe somewhere. I have them, I know I do, because I remember making them, and they're on the tubs in my classroom, so I know they exist. I'm not sure I put them at Pre-K Pages though, but let me know if you want those. I'll send them to you. All right, so that brings us to, and don't forget to put your hashtag QQ whenever you ask a question. The next one is Father's Day gifts, and yay, I do have Father's Day posts over at Pre-K Pages. Scott wrote a really good post last year that I love. Picture frames are always great, right? He did a tin foil picture frame for Father's Day that kids can make. So go over to the Pre-K Pages and check out those Father's Day gifts. Scott also wrote one about keychains that kids can make. So that's a good one too. And then we've got a roundup. That means all the different ideas on the web that I like for Father's Day. My Father's Day cookie gift, which if I was a father, I would prefer that one over all the others because you can eat them. So go over to Pre-K Pages and check out those Father's Day gifts there. So you know me, I'm all about teaching smarter, saving time, and living more. So those first two posts would probably be the easiest ones for your kids to make. They do require just a few supplies, but tin foil isn't expensive, as are the beads. So picture frames and the keychains, both of those posts are from Scott. Yes, there are some tech glitches, so refresh your browser if you see me freezing up. I'm so sorry about that. Okay, so the next question that we had over in the group, let's see. Picture books that kids can get involved with. And yay, I love this question. This question is from Sandy. And I have a post at Pre-K Pages about that. I know, are you getting tired of me saying that? But it's called Interactive Books for Preschoolers. And those are my favorites. So you can see the ones like Tap the Magic Tree, Plant the, what is the one? I just did a broadcast on it. Is it Plant the Magic Seed, I think? It's Plant the Seed. All of my favorite interactive books that encourage children to come up and interact with the book. I just read Plant the Magic Seed with a group of preschoolers a couple weeks ago, and they were enthralled, hanging on every word. So definitely check out that list. I have to go back and remember to add that Plant the Magic Seed. But Tap the Magic Seed is one in there. There's a whole list of interactive books for preschoolers, books that are almost guaranteed to get kids to listen and pay attention. Okay, so we did interactive books, Father's Day. Oh, and the big one here, let's see. I promised somebody else, they actually read the description of the group and followed the directions there, so that post wasn't in this thread, but it was about biting. So I want to talk about biting. That was really our big topic tonight, because that question was asked first before all the others. So the question was, what do you do about kids who bite? And I actually have a blog post coming out soon on this topic because it's a question I get asked quite often. And the reality is that it's going to happen, right? I mean, it's a common thing. So it's a typical behavior that we see more in infants, toddlers, and kids up to 2. We don't see it as much, normally in children older than that. But that's not to say that it doesn't happen, because I've had biters that were 4 years old before, okay? So just preface that. So as kids mature and they just develop and grow, it becomes less of a thing because they have the skills they need to communicate. So some kids are going to bite because they just haven't developed those skills they need to interact with other people yet, right? Other kids, because they're usually going to bite another kid if you're a teacher in the classroom. If you're a parent at home, then it might be out of frustration. But so some reasons kids might bite. So I wrote down a list of them. The littlest ones, we know that could be teething, right? We all know that for the littlest ones. Maybe they're just curious. What will happen if I bite, right? They might be curious. The sensation of biting feels good. When they bite down on something, it gives them sensory input. And so if they crave that, then they might bite. That's called oral motor stimulation. That child is seeking oral motor stimulation. Might be imitating somebody else they saw. So quite often I get this question, well, we never had a biter, and then all of a sudden we had a biter, and then we had two biters, and they weren't the two kids that were playing together. Sometimes they will imitate behaviors of others, because if the biter, the original biter, is getting negative attention, children don't care what kind of attention they get as long as they get it, then the imitator might be seeking attention in any way he or she can get. And so they might imitate and bite for the attention they saw the original biter get. Self-defense, if they're trying to defend themselves or defend their toy, right? Then they might bite. That's normal. Maybe they're trying to tell you something. You know, we don't know. Could they be having an off day? Are they upset? Are they frustrated? It's a form of communication. Maybe they're feeling stressed about the environment. Maybe they're having sensory issues with the lights or the noise, any of that. They could be lashing out because they can't tell you. Again, it goes back to communication, right? And the root of the whole thing is really the communication skills. Biting as a substitute for things that you can't yet say. So if you're with another kid in the block center and that other kid has the red fire truck and you want the red fire truck and you're fighting over it and you want to be the winner and you want to win quick, you might bite if you don't know how to ask for it. If you don't have the words to say, hey, I want that fire truck. Can I please have a turn? Well, how many kids do we know who can say, can I please have a turn? Not very many. So now that we know some of the reasons why kids bite, what can you do to prevent it? So most importantly is to observe, right? So we're going to be watching the kids and see what happened right before the biting. Now, a lot of times biting happens when we're not looking, right? So we have to think, what was happening in the classroom just before the biting happened? Were we at centers, and was that child in the block center or the dramatic play center, and who were they playing with? So who was the child playing with? That's the next one. So what happened just before the biting happened? Who was the child playing with? Who was bit? Sometimes it's more about who, because you have maybe two kids that are like oil and water, than it is about the biting itself. And I'll tell you a little story about a kid in my class. So I had a little boy. He was very bright. He was very articulate. If you had to ask me, I would say he had a great vocabulary. And he was 4. And one day, out of the blue, one of his classmates started screaming and crying that she had been bitten, that he had bit her. And I was very surprised because it was not the beginning of the year. He'd never expressed this kind of behavior before. I was really kind of baffled. And so I took it very seriously, and I was talking to him, and he had a good vocabulary. And so I was just like, why did you do that? You know, what were you trying to accomplish with that? And he didn't say it like this, but the truth came out is that she was a mean girl, and he was very small for his age, and she was calling him a baby and a crybaby, and she was just being really mean to him. And he wanted it to stop right now. And I don't think anyone had ever been really, really mean to him like that before. So he just bit her. The worst thing he could think of, he bit her. So we had a discussion about, okay, maybe this girl isn't a good choice for you to play with if she's going to be calling you all those bad words. And we all had very serious discussions, but anyway. So some of the things you might do, maybe give them the words. Now, if they can't talk yet, we'll talk about that in a minute, but for a child who can speak, you might need to give them the words they need because they want the situation to be over. They want to have that, whatever it is, right now. So we might need to give them the words to use. So I do that a lot, giving kids words to use. They put it in their kid toolbox so they can pull it out again later and use it again. Can you tell Zishan that you want the fire truck? Can you say that? I want the fire truck. Okay, now let's ask him nicely because they can't repeat really long phrases. So I'm making them very, very short. Then I might say, now let's ask him again, but ask him nicely by putting the word please in there. And so I'll slowly lengthen that phrase for the child. So I'm setting them up, scaffolding for success. And then that might help for next time. Now that's not going to solve the problem right away, but that's at least setting a foundation. So you're going to be following up with conversations like that. Maybe a kitchen timer so they can take turns. So if Zishan says, no, I'm not giving up the fire truck, then you say, well, maybe we could try something else. Maybe we could share and take turns. And one way we can do that, you could use a visual timer of some sort so that this is Zishan's turn and then it's the other child's turn. You might do something like that. And try to have multiples of favorites. And my favorite strategy with multiples is with books. That's why I have so many books. I learned the hard way. One copy of No David is not going to cut it because they will fight. So just like one fire truck might not cut it, you might want to have multiples of those really, really popular toys. But sharing is one of the most common triggers for biting. Again, if it was an infant, a toddler, a 2-year-old, it's very, very normal. We don't see it as often in 3s and 4s. For the kids who don't talk yet, you might want to verbalize for them. Oh, I can see you're very upset. You're crying. Your face looks like this, and it's all red. I think you might want to turn with the fire truck. Do you want the fire truck? If they nod yes, well, then we have to take a turn. So we're going to let Zishan play with it for a few minutes and then we'll take a turn. So you have to kind of verbalize it for them and talk them through it because they don't have the words yet to do that. You also have to let them know how the child who got bit feels. Oh, and look at Zishan's face. He's crying. Oh my goodness, that hurt. Biting hurts. Biting is not okay. And then also reading books. I always have biting books available, even though I haven't had very many biters over the years, because you never know when you might need them. So I think I have Teeth Are Not for Biting. I think that's what it's called, and it might be by Elizabeth Verdick. I'm not sure. But you can also, there's several books about biting out there, but definitely this one is a board book. It's very simple. You can read it to all preschoolers. And we just, in the beginning of the year, we'll just start up front with all those books, all those Hands Are Not for Hitting and all that stuff. Of course, we never want to take it personally if a child bites. And we also sometimes, and I know that I felt like this when this happened with this particular situation, was that I was afraid of what the parents of the child who got bit would say, you know, because it's a very scary thing to have your child be bitten at school. So it's very important that we don't let those feelings get in the way of how we deal with it. We don't want to punish the biter. We want to give them the tools they need to succeed. We tell them no. We tell them biting hurts. Biting is not okay. And we do all these other things, but we don't want to punish them because really what they were doing was communicating. Right? They were letting that other person know how they felt. Yeah, so that's my biting. That's my whole biting thing. The blog post will be out soon. I actually had a draft of it. So when she asked that question, I was like, yay. So I was able to pull from that draft. Okay. One more question and then we have to go. So I'm just going to go through the questions and take as many as I can and as much time as I have. We talked about Father's Day gifts, picture books. Tammy asked about children who are onlookers. How do you get a child to interact when the child is an onlooker? And the answer to that is both simple and difficult, and that is you don't, because children have different personality styles. So you can't make them something they're not. So if they're shy and they're more of an onlooker, that's their personality style. So we can't make kids participate. We can invite them, we can entice them, but we can't force them to participate. So if everyone is standing up and singing Hokey Pokey or whatever it is, and there's a child sitting on the floor, we don't force them. We can invite them and we can entice them, but we don't force them. So what I do is, it's kind of like kill them with kindness. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I can see that Jacqueline is really getting into the Hokey Pokey. And she's got her hands in and she's got her hands out. And look at the smile on her face. I can tell she's having fun. And I'm just talking through the song. And hopefully that's going to entice that child to participate. Now, there's some children who don't like that sensory stimulus. They don't like that loud noise. And forcing them to participate is just going to make it worse. So I hope that helps. Ooh, here's a good one from Christina. Let's see. Suggestions to give parents about how to limit their child's device uses and get out and play in the summer. Well, that is a great idea in theory. Wouldn't we love to say that we could make kids turn off their devices during the summer? But that's a parent education thing. And so that can only be conveyed to the parents in a meeting of some sort, a face-to-face meeting, because you could send a note that will never be read and that will go in the garbage or get lost before it gets home. You could send them a text, which is just going to be offending to them because you're telling them not to do something. If I told you, hey, definitely don't watch The Voice tonight or whatever it was, you'd be like, why is she telling me that? You can put it on your Facebook page or your whatever method you use to communicate with parents. You can, basically the thing is, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. So the most effective way would be to have some kind of parent meeting. So if you're going to have an end of the year, like parent summer night or something, where you're going to get together and talk about ideas for the summer or something, that would be a topic you could bring up then. But it's not something that can just be conveyed with a quick note, text, email, Facebook page, whatever, because they don't see themselves as having a problem. Or they think that, well, what else am I supposed to do? I had a parent once who said that to me. If I'm driving in the car with my kid, they're watching the iPad, because what else are they supposed to do? And so I was trying to explain that, you know, you point out the stop signs and you ask them what this is and you point out environmental print and you have these conversations. And she looked at me like I had two heads. Like that was a foreign idea to her. Like, I'm driving. I don't have time for that. And so it's more of a philosophy, and it will be a mind shift for some of the parents. So that's going to be something that has to come in a parent education session. You can share all the articles you want with them. Basically, what they will do is they will be offended because they will think that you are telling them that they are bad parents. And so that's usually what happens when I share one of those articles on Facebook, is I get tons and tons of angry parents commenting and saying, you know, that this is not, that nobody understands, this isn't true. And so that's how parents these days feel. They feel under attack all the time, and they feel like they're being told they're bad parents all the time. So that has to be done in a face-to-face education piece. Oh, and thanks to Tom for talking about separation anxiety. I forgot to mention that one. There was a question in here somewhere about separation anxiety, and I've completely, there it is. Paula, thank you, Paula. And Paula, yay, she used the hashtag QQ. Good for you. All right, Paula asked about separation anxiety, and I don't think I answered this one yet. I'm sorry about that. How do you go about convincing parents to drop their child off and go instead of hanging around without upsetting the kids further? And that's a great question. So I have a blog post about that, because one of our summer book studies in the past has been about challenging behavior, and separation anxiety is a very challenging behavior, right? So I would suggest going over there and looking at that blog post. But the best thing, my best advice is to have a school policy in place. You have to have a school policy in place for separating, for parents and kids to separate, because if some parents come in the room and they hang around for days and other parents separate at the door, the parents who separate at the door will see the parents inside the classroom and think they're being a bad parent, so then they want to come in, even though their kid is fine and doesn't need that extra time. So you've got these two different groups of people who can't separate from their child, or their child can't separate from them. Usually it's a combination of both. And then you've got the parents who are totally ready to separate and their kids are fine, but then they feel like they're doing something wrong if they leave. So you have to have a school policy in place, and it has to be communicated up front before the first day of school, so that all the teachers are on the same page, that the administration is on the same page, the parents are on the same page. All of that is established up front. And I'm thinking that that's not just in the blog post, but I'm thinking it's part of my pre-K teaching hacks ebook, maybe. It's ringing a bell. It's ringing a bell somewhere. But definitely have that policy in place. So my favorite is to have the parents separate with the kids at the door. That's going to be the very best way. There's always a kid every couple of years who that doesn't work for, because they're going to run out in traffic and scream and kick and cry. But it's going to really help to have that policy in place and established before you ever meet, or before the kids and parents ever get to school on the first day. That's my best advice. And then check out that blog post too for additional tips and ideas. Okay. Let me just check. Make sure I got to them. Preparing for the new year. Terry asked about preparing for the new year. Terry, that's a great question. And I think that the summer organization challenge is going to be the thing to answer that. So we're going to do a summer organization challenge, and then we have another challenge after that that really speaks to your question. So I don't want to let the cat out of the bag just yet. But those two challenges are really going to help you with that answer to that question, okay? So if you haven't already signed up for the 5-day challenge, it starts on June 12th, goes through June 16th. It's completely free. It's for everybody. It's for anybody, whether you're a member of the teaching tribe or not. Go over there and sign up for the 5-day challenge, where you will get 5 days of organizational tips delivered right to your inbox starting on the 12th and ending on the 16th. And you'll get additional bonus printables to help you achieve those challenges or achieve those tasks. Then there's 2 steps. One is to join the free Facebook group, which you've already done because you're here. And the second is to put your name and email in there so that you can get the emails. We'll be going live every day, June 12th through the 16th. And I will be back again answering your quick questions. Don't forget, when you post here in the group, hashtag QQ when you post in the status box here in the group, and that will help me find your questions. I'm going to go through and see what kind of comments we have. Oh yeah, Shannon reminded me of something. Thank you, Shannon. We do have the summer bingo over at Pre-K Pages, which is basically like the best books for preschoolers, but it's in the bingo format. So when the parents go to the library with the kids, they can use that bingo to find the best books to read. Let's see. Serena, my favorite biting book, the one that I've just read forever and ever, is Teeth Are Not for Biting by Elizabeth Verdick. I think that's how you say her name. And her book can be found over on my Pre-K Pages behavior page, but you can also look it up on Amazon. All right. All right, well, I hope you found this broadcast helpful. And I'll be back again. We'll do some more QQs. Keep adding your questions in here, and we will keep answering them. Talk soon, guys. Bye.